Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special short presentation called What Material Should I Use? This presentation is designed to give everyone information on what materials to use for heat treating applications. My name is Jeff Kiszonas. I'm the Western Regional Sales Manager for Graphel Carbon Products. I've been a part of the graphite and EDM industry since 1996. Today I'm joined by Ken Dworznik, the Midwest Regional Sales Manager for Graphel Carbon Products. Ken has 12 years of heat treating and graphite experience. He is also host of a podcast called EDM Talk, which focuses on the electrical discharge machining industry. Thanks for joining me today, Ken.
Jeff, absolute pleasure.
Ken, my experience is mostly in EDM, obviously, but I also work with people that have high temperature applications, heat treaters, sintering, things like this. I'd like you to start out by just describing some of the different types of furnaces that are out there that our products in graphite, molybdenum, or CFC can help support.
Well, as many people know, the most obvious one that people think about when they hear about furnaces or anything like that is vacuum furnaces. So those are produced by companies like Ipsen, Solar Atmosphere, GM Enterprises, Vac Aero, and Seco Vacuum. There's also the open air furnaces, which would be a belt conveyor furnace or a rotary tube furnace. Now, there's a host of different furnaces out there, and we're not going to go through all those different ones, but many times people are using those furnaces so they can do annealing, normalizing, hardening, and stress relieving. And the idea of this presentation and us kind of getting the information out there is that there are many different materials to use out there, but you got to make sure you use the right material for what your heat treating application is, and most importantly, what your heat treating application is going to be, and also as well, what type of furnace you have. Because unfortunately, if you have a vacuum furnace, but if you're not using the right materials, and let's say you have something to this extent of a heating element or something like that, you could run into some issues. Now, one of the most important things to remember is that if you're doing things in an open air atmosphere, graphite can fail at about 930 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if you're looking to get a little bit hotter than that, then obviously the recommendation would be use a vacuum furnace or to purge with some sort of inert gas.
That answers a lot of the questions that I think a lot of people might have about this. As far as the different materials used, why don't you tell us about some of these materials, where they'd be used in the furnaces, differences between metal hot zones and graphite hot zones, things like that.
Sure. Those two descriptions, Jeff, just kind of tell you what exactly it is. So if you have a graphite hot zone, obviously that's a situation where you're going to use something as a heating element, a side shield, a bolt or a nut, a crucible support, electrode sleeve, a supporting rod, hearth rails, power feed-throughs, graphite washers, and then also CFC and graphite rigid board. Now, most of that is all graphite-based. When you certainly have your metal hot zone, it is most times either going to be made of tungsten or it's going to be made of moly. Obviously, the heat treating for that, some of those different parts, certainly that's a little bit different temperatures and would involve some different things. But specifically with a graphite hot zone, that's something that Graphel can certainly help you with.
Okay. Ken, when somebody's deciding what material specifically to use in an application, they need to specify whether they're heat treating in a controlled environment or open air. You kind of mentioned that. Why does this need to be disclosed?
Well, first and foremost, Jeff, with that type of situation is that specific materials, if for instance in a vacuum furnace, if you have something that has electricity coming through it, that's going to be one type of grade of material. If it's just a structural type of application in that vacuum furnace, then a different material can be used. And obviously with our expertise with many different people within Graphel, we can help you with that. Now in an open air type of atmosphere, we do need to at times find out if you're purging with some sort of gas. Most times that would be with argon or with nitrogen. And if we have that information and knowing your application, we can certainly help you with the right material as well. Because the biggest thing for us is that we want to save people money. And at times people will use a material that might be too high of quality for what their actual application is. And many times there are different types of grades of material that are listed on prints and things like that. But at times you can use an alternative material that could save you a little bit of money and do the exact same thing as what the material you are currently using.
Okay, so very, very similar to what we see on the EDM side of things with graphite. The
Absolutely.
application depends, will dictate which material is best. There's a lot of times maintenance people or material managers might have a part that they need replaced in a furnace, but they don't have a print or they don't know the grade of material of the part. What can we do to help out in that kind of situation?
Couple different things on that, Jeff. We do something called reverse engineering. And what that is that you provide us the dimensions of a print, or you actually provide us a part. You'll send it to us so we can obviously pick it up from you. And then we will draw it up for you. And obviously with your approval, basically you'll say that's okay. And then that'll be the print for that part that you have. Now, the other thing at times when a lot of people will not have a print or anything like that, and they'll just call out dimensions, we could do the same thing if you don't have the print in front of you. But 9 times out of 10, we're going to need you to sign off on that print because just in case a dimension is not given to us correctly, we don't certainly want to be liable for that.
A lot of times also, I talk to people that have high temperature furnace applications. They want to produce their own parts. They just want to buy raw stock and manufacture parts as they need for their applications. Is this something that we can help support as well?
Absolutely. Once again, us knowing what you're going to be using, certainly that raw stock for, if you're going to be making elements or something that's going to have electricity, we want to make sure we provide to you the proper raw stock so that when you have that opportunity to machine your parts, you have the right materials. We can certainly give you recommendations. And once again, there's many different alternatives, but we can certainly ship raw stock to you. You can cut it on a bunch of different sides, 6 sides, 4 sides, flatten whatever you need. So it's easier for you to machine, but we can get that out to you in days.
Okay. You mentioned getting raw stock out in days. What about manufactured parts? What would lead times be on manufactured parts? Obviously, there's going to be a variance depending on different issues, quantities and tolerances and such, but what are we looking at here?
Well, a lot of times based on the application, based on what the customer needs, if you give us enough time, we certainly can have that done in probably 4 weeks or less. Now, there are emergency situations at times, and we have helped customers time and time again. When you get that call at 5 o'clock at night, and all of a sudden your furnace is down and you need it back up because you need a hearth support or you need something, a nut or a bolt to keep things going, and you have to get that furnace running in a couple of days. We have been able to help people overnighting things and working on that aspect as well. So don't be afraid to contact us if you have an emergency situation because we will certainly turn things around. But obviously based on quantities and things of that sort, you're looking anywhere from the 3 to 4 week range when it comes to manufactured furnace parts.
Well, I'd like to conclude this at this time. Ken, thank you for presenting this information today. It's very helpful. And this has been What Material Should I Use? In order to get more information about this topic, you can go to www.graphel.com. You can also contact Ken directly at ken.dworznik@graphel.com. You can also find his information at our website. Also, my information as the Western Manager, jeff.kiszonas@graphel.com, also available on the website. Please keep your eyes open for more short presentations down the road talking about graphite as well as electrical discharge machining topics. I've been your host, Jeff Kiszonas. Again, Ken, thank you for talking with us this morning. And everyone out there, have a great day.